Let's do a little hairy homeowner project. There's not a lot of woodworking involved. Actually, no woodworking involved. Welcome back to the shop and the channel. And this is one of those home projects that doesn't involve woodworking at all, except for drilling a hole. It doesn't involve woodworking at all. What it does involve is a ball valve with a PEX fitting, a Y valve with a PEX fitting hose connector here. See, hose connector. Some of these PEX stainless steel clips, the PEX tool to crimp the clips, one PEX elbow bendy thing, and clips to hang the PEX on some wood. Oh, yeah, and it also involves some PEX tubing. This is an outside project. I mentioned it earlier in the video that I've been meaning to put a sillcock at the outside of the deck for Mara's garden. Mara has built a fairly extensive garden in our tiny little lot. And I'll show you that later. Anyone's concerned about PEX being outside, it has a burst pressure of 500 psi. It has a high-end working temperature of 200 degrees. It has a low-end working temperature of 20 degrees, but it doesn't go to the glass state or brittlement state where it'll shatter till 149 degrees below zero. I guess if you go down one more degree, it goes into the glass state. That's what you call in plastics a glass state, where it'll actually shatter if you bend it. But it takes 149 degrees below zero. This works at 20 degrees, but it never gets that cold here. Almost never. I don't think I've seen 20 degrees here in decades. Anyway, so let's go out to the backyard and I'll show you what's going on here and how I'm planning to do this and give you a quick roundy tour of Mara's garden. There'll be some handheld involved here too. So let's start with Mara's garden. So we'll come over here. This is our back deck, of course. And we have some veg stuff down here. And that is not being used right now. And we have cucumbers over here. And that's not being used. We kind of rotate the crops and stuff. And that's a huge fig tree. We got tons of figs. And more garden beds down here, more garden beds over there. More garden beds over there, more little fruit trees, things like that, and some little bushes and some bushes. So that's Mara's garden. So let me show you what's going on with the watering the garden. This is the sillcock at the back of the house. And it's the only one we have back here, of course. We've connected a hose to it, runs under the deck like this, and comes out in the garden space right here. And then what I plan to do is put that ball valve sillcock right here. And then run the PEX through the hole and all the way over to where the Y fitting will be on the on the house sillcock. Now, this is it's not really changing a lot. It's just making it a little bit more convenient for Mara to do her gardening and watering and all kinds of stuff. I'm not a gardener, so it's kind of like plant magic to me. This required my apron to carry stuff. So step number one, spade bit. We're going to drill a hole right here for the sillcock. Oopsie. Let's see if that's the right size. Guess what? It has to be bigger, so I have to get a bigger drill bit. So, the first hole I drilled wasn't big enough because of the clip. And I think the second one, I think I gotta go 1 inch. Gives me plenty of room, so I gotta enlarge the hole. Here we go, 1 inch hole. Put that aside. And the sillcock's going to go right here. So step number one, the PEX. 20 feet. Ready for this? Yeah, 20 feet. So shove this in here. I can catch it later. So what's something I didn't mention before when we were talking about the materials is PEX tubing does not cold flow over time. So it maintains its I guess spring against the clips and everything. So let's clip this. Maybe I should come in close so you can see how this works. So I'll put the clip ring. As you can see, it's a compression ring. It's stainless steel. And you can also get them in copper that are coated with something. Then you take your tool and grab the compression ring, like so. Bring it up to where it needs to clip, and you just squeeze this down until it clicks back open. There it is. And that's it. That's done. So next step is to mount using deck screws. I'm using regular old Hardy deck screws. Let's get it all straightened up. There we go. And there we go. So let's turn it off because we're going to go connect it at the other end and put some water pressure on it. First thing I need to do is remove this old hose, and I know I'm probably blocking the camera, but get that off. There, that can be dragged out from the other side. Now I want to install my little Y fitting here. Oops, let's get that off because I don't need that on there while I'm doing this. Again, probably blocking the camera, but it's a tight spot. I'm going to turn it. Yeah, I think I want this to be like so. Like so. I know it's not where it really should be, but if I go like that, it's kind of hard to get the PEX in here. So I turn it like this, I can get the PEX in easier. I think. We'll see. Because it's not very flexible. Okay, give that a little extra grink. I can adjust it. So there's that, and they're in the off position. This fitting is going to go on the end of the PEX tubing, so I need to cut the PEX tubing to the right length. Forgot to mention these things are PEX tubing cutters. So I want to come up here like that. And I want to see, yep, that's about where I want it. And cut it off right there. And there's the end that's going to go. So up to the faucet. So I'll put our crimp connector on and our hose connector on, and then crimp that on there. Okay, that's on there. Let's see how this works. I gotta turn it down just a little bit. Okay, that's tight. And let's tighten the faucet back up. Okay, that's tight, that's closed. Now, some water on. And that's all tight. I now have water flowing here. And now the test. So now Mara has a sillcock here, easy to get to. Don't have to deal with anything else. We can hook a regular hose up to this and leave it connected. So this little home project is complete. And before we leave, end this video, something else I did to the front and rear sillcocks to the house was to move the valves down to about shoulder height or chest height, instead of being buried up there between the floor joists, where my wife couldn't reach this one very easily. So there it is. It's a ball valve, and it's right there where you can get your hands on it. So I didn't have to use the PEX elbow-y thingy. I'm sure I'll find another project for that. I wasn't going to go underneath the deck to fasten that line up because I really couldn't get that on camera, so I'll do that at a later date. So for this project, like I said outside, we're done. That's a quick way to get the water to the edge of the deck and onto the garden. And PEX is your friend. So until next time, make great things out of wood and maybe do some plumbing.